Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamanatira Vanachadi Jamanatira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamana Tira Vanachadi Jamanatira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Parividagacharya Astatarasatasi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavadinda Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Gaur Pimanandi Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This morning we'll be reading the next verse from Canto 10. And the astonishment bhav comes back. Amazed. Vismitaha. Vismitaha. amazed. Nanda Maharaj had been astonished to see for the first time the great opulence of Varuna, the ruler of the ocean planet. Ruler of the ocean planet. But the ocean planet, the ruler of the ocean planet, not the ocean. That's how our translators translated it. Lokapala is in the Sanskrit, the verse, of the controlling deity of the parentheses ocean, close parentheses planet. We'll discuss that a little bit. And also to see how Varuna and his servants had offered such humble respect to Krishna. Nanda described all this to his fellow cowherd men. And guess what happens? They're going to go, whoa, who is he? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. There's no BBT commentary. Vishwanath writes, Nanda saw the great opulence of Varuna, which was astonishing to the senses, and the respect given to Krishna by Varuna and other devas protecting the planet, parentheses, Lokapalas. Tesham is a plural form indicating not only Varuna but others as well offered respect and worshipped him, Krishna. Nanda, being astonished, spoke to the cowherd men. After breaking the fast on the Dvadasi Tithi ended, and sitting comfortably, he began to speak. So I wanted to be sure that I knew what Tithi meant, and I was right. But here's Prabhupada writing in his commentary, Canto 7, Chapter 14. Here's his explanation of what Tithi means. A Tithi, or lunar day, there's solar day and there's lunar days. Lunar day consisting of the distance between the longitude of the sun and that of the moon. So latitude and longitude. So longitude is the north-south, where the sun is positioned, north and south at longitude position, and the moon is positioned. So it's most important is the moon, but how the moon position relates to the sun's position, day and night, is the sun's position. And where the moon is moving, that's a lunar day. The distance between the two. Position of the sun, longitude, that distance between the sun's position and the moon's position. When a tithi starts after sunrise on a certain day and ends before the sunrise on the following day, because that's what happened here. At least it ended before the sun rose, before the 24-hour day between the sunrises. So that makes it, how you're going to break the fast makes it tithi. So in between one tithi and the next. So anyway, 27 in a lunar month. And so it's a technical. So he broke the fast before the Dwadasi Tithi ended. Before the Dwadasi, the next day after Kadasi is Dwadasi. And then there's the Dwadasi Tithi, which I don't understand, because the Dwadasi Tithi is the Dwadasi day by lunar calendar, but when it overlaps, it somehow counts as the previous day or something like that. I don't understand it. But he broke the fast, besides the bathing that he was doing to prepare to break the fast. Jiva Goswami writes, the word Krishna as Govinda has been described. That's the way that he's being addressed in the verse. Okay. Krishna as Govinda has been described in order to show the greatness of Govinda. The greatness of his abode is shown in the following verses. So, Govinda is not referred to in this 28 text number 10, it's in 27. Krishna is given the name Govinda. And so now he's going to be explaining, Shukadev Goswami is going to be explaining the greatness of Govinda's abode. Some respect given to Krishna by Varuna and his associates, seeing respect, after seeing the opulence of Varuna, now they're offering respect to Krishna, Nanda was astonished. That was because of Nanda's absorption in Krishna's sweet human pastimes, and not because he was impressed by Krishna's powers. I mean, he could have been impressed by the opulence of Varuna, and he could have been impressed by Krishna's powers, but he found Nanda Maharaj somewhere in Indra's abode. But neither, he was just astonished by his absorption in Krishna's sweet pastimes. This is the conclusion. Prema for Krishna is the cause of all excellence, which the cowherds possessed, and not wealth. The cowherds will show they depend only on Krishna. And Sanatana Goswami's comment had seen great wealth of the devatas, plural, and their devotion for Krishna. So the plural indicates there were others besides Varuna present. After returning from Varuna's place, he had seen the wealth and worship done by Indra and others on the path. Now, apparently, returning from Varuna's abode is not in the verses, but he had to pass through the abodes of others. And Indra was one who also worshipped Krishna as he returning back to Vraja. I'll discuss this a little bit, the Lokapala topic. Plural of Lokapala is implied because the Devatas was mentioned. So he went past the Lokapalas of other Devas. Other Devatas had been at Varuna's place, that's also possible. He saw the opulence of many, Mahodaya. It was beyond the senses, comma, because it was variegated and unlimited. He was astonished because such devotion was not possible for the cowherds. They didn't worship Krishna with opulence or otherwise. Generally speaking, he's just like, yay, Krishna did it again. Therefore, he spoke to relatives like Upananda about the wealth and worship. Paragraph. Although seeing the wealth and worship, he was not astonished, vismitaha. He spoke to his relatives to satisfy them. The astonishment was the sweetness of Krishna. Jiva Goswami in his Krama Sandarbha writes, Nanda was astonished. This was because of Nanda's absorption in Krishna's sweet human pastimes, and not because he was impressed with Krishna's powers. This is the conclusion. And now, interesting is Gopal Champu, Jiva Goswami. On another day, when Krishna was absent from the assembly, the cowherds inquired from Nanda about the wondrous events that took place at Varuna's palace. Nanda profusely praised the great prosperity of Varuna, which was beyond human comprehension. Oh, friends, hear the wonder. Then he described the great reverence that the inhabitants displayed for Krishna. After Nanda's description, they were all astonished in their hearts, and they thought as follows. I'm thinking that perhaps Krishna was the Supreme Lord. Even if it's true that he is the Lord because of his indestructible power of knowledge, he is the abode of great natural affection and the giver of complete bliss. Because of this, our minds are always eager to see his excellent qualities which destroy all longing. He will show us this excellence without restriction. Recognizing all these people, Krishna, both his relatives and others, as non-different from himself, Krishna began to contemplate. Attracted to them by his mercy and quickly falling under their control. That's the end. There's lots of things to be astonished by in this little episode, but especially the Brajabasis are astonished about the sweetness of Krishna, and that's the emphasis of our acharyas. They're not so attracted by the opulence of Varuna. They're not so attracted by the fact that Varuna worshipped Krishna along with all the others that were with him, devatas or whoever else. That wasn't the astonishing. I mean, that would be really astonishing for most of us. But they were astonished by how sweet are the pastimes of Krishna. Will he continue to show us this excellence of his, the excellent sweetness of his, without restriction? We read yesterday evening about longing and satisfaction. Remember that? Did you hear that discussion? Longing, there's a relationship between longing and satisfaction. And when you're not feeling satisfied, you're longing. Materially, that's what we do. We're not satisfied, and so we're longing. Now, how does that work in the spiritual realm? They're longing, the cowherds, they're longing for coming to the place of satisfaction, where they'll always see Krishna's excellences, that is, all the sweetness of Krishna, to see it unceasingly. That's the longing, although they're there. We're not there. They're there, and they're longing. And then the converse is true. When there's satisfaction, longing subsides. Complacency. So like for example, if people take up some path of, 4 types of pious men render devotional service unto me, and any one of those things, when it gets satisfied, what happens? Complacency. Check out. Thanks a lot, Krishna. See you later. I got this, and I got that, and got the other thing, and now that's when there's material motivation or even mixed material motivation, the tendency is to become complacent. Longing subsides. So what to speak of the edification for us is longing for what? And when the spiritual awakening comes to the stage where there's longing for, like Gopakumar had, a natural longing for being with Krishna, the satisfaction never came. Although he went here and there, the other thing, and the other thing, and the other thing. He not only went to heaven, but he became the king of heaven. He became Indra, because Indra checked out for a while. So he was placed in the post of Indra. Anyway, it never satisfied. Always longing. So that sounds uncomfortable. Always longing and never satisfied. I want to be satisfied. But that longing for becoming, what is that standard of satisfaction? Here's the Brajbasis. And what's Krishna? He's under the control of such people. Attracted to them by his mercy and quickly falling under their control. Now, he doesn't give up his position as being the supreme independent. He's supremely independent, we're minutely independent. His supreme independence becomes subordinated to his devotees who are totally surrendered to him. That's the Brajbasis. It's inherently contradictory, but perfectly natural. The nature of love. And I want to go back to this Lokapala thing. It's Nanda Maharaj had been astonished to see, for the first time, the great opulence of Varuna, the ruler of the ocean planet. And the ruler of the ocean planet translation comes from the word Lokapala. At least one of the ways, the primary way that I'm familiar with this term Lokapala is, well, two things. There's Vedic cosmology that describes Mount Sumeru. You know what Mount Sumeru is? Heard it. There's in Bhumandala, the earth plane, Bhumandala, is a series of oceans and islands, ring-shaped islands, very unique, and ring-shaped oceans, also very unique. Yeah, 7 of each, right. And then in the center, there's where we are. And that center island is called Jambudweep, Central Island. And that central island has 9 varshas, one of those 9 being Bharata Varsha, and it's separated from the other 8 varshas by ranges of mountains. And on the other side, so if you go, it's in the southernmost part of Jambudweep, and if you go north, you bump into the Himalaya mountains, and if you go on the other side, on Jambudweep, not the other side of the Himalaya mountains in the global for topography, but this Bhumandala topography, all of the other 8, they're residents of various celestial beings with permanence of some form of Vishnu being worshipped there. And then in the middle, there's this Mount Sumeru. And Mount Sumeru is really tall. Really tall. It's 100. There's part of Mount Sumeru that's below Bhumandala. That's 1/5 of it, and the other 4/5 is above the plain of Bhumandala, and it's 80,000 miles tall. That's a big mountain. We've never seen a mountain like that. It's a golden mountain, and it's upside down. No such thing. No such thing. In our earthly realm, no such thing. But and at the top of Bhumandala, it's flat, and there's an abode of Brahma at the top, and then surrounding the abode of Brahma on the top, there's Lokapalas. Those are the protectors of the directions, and one of those is the abode of Varuna, and another one is the abode of Indra. And there's names, Sanskrit names. It says the names of all these places. That's in the top of Mount Sumeru. So aside from Brahma having his place at the very, very, very top of the universe, because above all of this that's Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, and Svargaloka. The Indra and Varuna have their abode in those places, in Svarga, in heaven. And then there's stuff above that, and Brahmaloka is the very top. So Brahma has a place at the top of Mount Sumeru and a place way up there, at least two. And Varuna has a place in heaven, Svarga, and he has a place at the top of Sumeru, his Lokapala place. And he rules from that place, in addition to what he does at the top of up in the Svargaloka. So apparently, doesn't specify, but apparently, on the plain of Bhumandala, that's where Krishna went, and that's where he had taken Varuna. Varuna had taken Nanda. Because this mention of a hole, he had to enter a hole. He went into the river Jamuna and found a hole and followed the hole, and zoom, he went to where Nanda was, and called the home or the palace. It's not underwater; it's at the top of Sumeru. So as he was leaving Sumeru, leaving Varuna's place, he passed by other demigods and the other Lokapalas, and they also worshipped him. That's what's being said. Now, just a couple other little things. It's already 8 o'clock. How does this work? At least what those who I have heard from, who understand this much better than I do, particularly Sataputta, but others, describe this flat topography of Bhumandala with Mount Sumeru right in the middle and 80,000 miles tall. This is a picture of Virat Rupa that those with higher consciousness can perceive. And when you have higher consciousness, then your sense perception also becomes better. Persons with higher consciousness can see things that persons with lower consciousness cannot see. So sense perception, the empowerment of the senses increases as consciousness increases in the higher realms of consciousness. Hare Krishna. So, Nanda, apparently, because of higher consciousness, could see things. Not only could go there because the agents of Varuna took him there, but he could see the opulences that are not seen in this world. Their opulence is mentioned. Never before seen in this world. No, he had been, here and there to places that are opulent in this world, particularly in Mathura, and can't compare. So how can you see opulences that you've never experienced before? Well, it's not just by going there. You have to have sense perception that can perceive it. And how do you even go there? You have to have higher consciousness to go there. You can't go to the top of Mount Sumeru. You can't even see it. What to speak of go there without the gift of higher consciousness. So, this inverted golden mountain, that is, it's narrow at the bottom, it's like a cone that's narrow at the bottom and broad at the top and flat. That's what the devas see that we can't see. It's a very interesting explanation. Sataputta takes you through. You have to listen carefully. I've listened several times when he's explaining all of this. And even like, the Bharat Varsha, that on this flat topography of Jambudweep, it's the southernmost, which we can't go from cross the other side of the Himalaya mountains and find the rest of Jambudweep. We're not going to see that. We're going to see something else because of our consciousness and power of senses. Like he gives the example, supposing you go to the North Pole and keep going north from the North Pole. What are you going to see? Sky. You're not going to see the other parts of Jambudweep. So we're giving, it's not detailed in this Canto 10, Chapter 28, but it refers to Canto 5, and you piece the two together, and that's what happened. He went there. Now he's coming back to Braja. And everyone's going, wow. Okay, so I'm going to pause for just a second. Can you pause this? And I'm going to go use the bathroom and come back.
I can throw very well. My pen is not.
We ran into something like this with the prayers of Brahma. When Brahma was saying, we, the Digpalas, that's the controllers of the senses, are benefiting from the Brijbasis because the Brijbasis have the capacity to see Krishna's lotus feet directly, so their senses become like cups. Through their mercy, we can then also perceive the lotus feet of Krishna. So Lokapalas and Digpalas, the pala means protect. It's one of the 6 characteristics of surrender. Is Krishna is my protector. Pala. So there's when the universe is created, there's protectors of different aspects of creation. They're controllers in the heavenly realm, and they have their additional home, because that's used repeatedly here. When Bruno took Nanda took Krishna to his home. It's his home. So where does Varuna live? There's the top of Mount Sumeru. How do you get there? Through a hole. We can't see any hole. Listen to Sadhuputta describe this, because he likes describing these things. Like demigods have powers that we don't have. And one of those is like Prapti Siddhi. Some yogis in this world, they also have Prapti Siddhi. They can reach out, and Prabhupada speaks, they can touch the moon. No, we can't. It's not that they have their arm just kind of extends and extends and extends and extends. They can touch the moon, or they can. Another example is take a pomegranate from Afghanistan. Just reach out their hand. So it's not like they have this elastic arm and reaches all the way to Afghanistan, but they have capacity because they know how to do it, and they're given powers by Yogeshwara, Krishna, to pass through what he calls higher dimensional space. And it's as if, like, my reaching out to touch this, they can do it because they have the power and they understand the science and they've mastered the science. They have the capacity to do that. So Krishna also had the capacity to enter a hole and go to where he wanted to go, the abode of Varuna, on Bhumandala, at the top of Mount Sumeru. And it was like zip, he didn't have to take a whole bunch of time. Because it's said when he came back, it's still the sun hadn't come up. So it's like boom, and then boom, and then he's back. As easy for us, as easy as 3-dimensional space, he calls it higher dimensional space. So that's how on this plane of Bhumandala, Varuna and his agents and Krishna went to, from point A to point B, although it's like 80,000 miles to get the top of Mount Sumeru. But then, anyway, there's another detail. I won't go into it. If one has this understanding of Krishna's powers are without limit, and he's the Yogeshwara, he's the master of all mystic powers, Krishna can invest that in somebody, and then it's not a problem. But if you don't say, well, wait a minute, you can't do that, then it remains a mystery. And only through bhakti can one just solve the mystery. And then, the rationalists say, oh, you people are silly. A mountain that's 80,000 miles tall, made of gold and upside down. Come on. You silly people. Okay, so let's see if there's some discussion.
Yeah, I have a
I thought so.
So the question is that you explained in the class that the main thing was that Vrajvasis, they loved Krishna.
That's it.
It was very simple.
Very simple.
So the thing is that when Krishna was in the Vraja,
Is the microphone on? Check the microphone and see if it's on. Okay, okay.
when Krishna was in the Vraja, he was in his original body. He was like in his original body, his original powers, original capacity.
Everything.
Yeah. So for at that time it was very easy to get attracted to him because it was natural. If he is around us, nobody can control. So that's my question that right now we don't have and Varun did not have that. So the only option is to worship in opulence or whatever we can do with our means.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
You got it.
yeah.
Well, we follow Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti.
Yeah, we are trying,
And now we're trying. And we follow Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. What happens? What happens? If you're a follower of Rupa Goswami, here's what happens. If you're not a follower of Rupa Goswami, something else may happen. But if you're a follower of Rupa Goswami who is a follower of Lord Chaitanya, here's what happens. There's stimulations for ecstatic love even while you're worshipping in opulence and following the vidhis of sadhana bhakti, that deep inside, there's a natural attraction for Krishna. And there's stimulations for that attraction for Krishna and Braja deep inside that are being awakened by the hearing and chanting process, along with the following of the vidhis. So there's this incubation chamber, the following the vidhis, that also cleanse, and the stimulation of ecstatic love that's awakened through our hearing and chanting.
yeah,
We're very fortunate.
yeah, we are
Count your blessings.
Yeah. But I was thinking about the Vrajvasis. Basically, it was an unconditional mercy on them.
Oh yeah, but
because they did not have to do anything.
They didn't have to do sadhana. We do. So what?
Yeah. That's what
Okay. But they did it anyways because for love for Krishna. That's why they did it, not to get something, to awaken something. They were already awake. Okay.
Guru Maharaj, it is certainly astonishing for me too. I was hearing this, the way I was thinking, yesterday we were discussing about, you gave certain options like A, B, C, about did Varuna had the desire, is one option to see Krishna, so he took Nanda Maharaj, or it may be the demoniac follower of the Varuna who was foolish and he didn't know, you gave some options. But based on this description, I am thinking that it is Varuna's desire, because applying some logic in my brain, which I should not do, is the demoniac servant could have done some harm to Nanda Maharaj. So it was not for him to take him back to the planet of Varuna. And he took him, and also he had the power to take Nanda Maharaj to so much distance. So with all this, I'm thinking that, as you mentioned yesterday, that it is the desire of Varuna to see Lord Krishna. So
And the desire of Krishna to see Varuna. That's option C. And because Krishna desired, Varuna desired, and his servant desired, and everything happened, stimulated by Krishna's desire.
and
With both. Varuna wanted to see Krishna, Krishna wanted to see Varuna. They matched up. They had a pastime.
so there is nothing wrong with the follower of Varuna.
Well, that comes at the end with the discussion. There's differences. One explanation is Varuna says, the wrong done by my servant is my wrong, and if you wish, you can punish me as is appropriate. That's this, Tattenu Kampam verse. Then another is, Krishna was pleased because he knew that there was no offense. It was just he wanted Krishna's association, which was prompted by Krishna wanting him to want Krishna's association. And so the pastime took place. So there's different ways of looking at it. And you can reach the conclusion whatever you like. There are different ways to look at it. That's fine. Okay?
One more question, Guru Maharaj. Another thing that I am thinking about is, like Nanda Maharaj comes and speaks about the opulence of Varuna. Like how he was astonished to see the opulence of Varuna.
Yeah.
But there was no mention of the path that he went. That would have been very interesting. Or it was in like a flash.
Well, we don't know what he said other than what we know what we heard what he said. What he said was the opulence of Varuna and that Nanda and others worshipped. Varuna and others worshipped. But it's plural, and so it could be Varuna and his associates, or it could be, as suggested by one of our acharyas, they went to other Lokapalas on the path back, and others also worshipped, like Indra, etc. What the conversation, it's compact, so we don't know the detail. What he shared, didn't share, we don't know.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Just appreciation one thing, and then I have a question. I never heard ocean planet. It was nice. First time I'm hearing about ocean planet.
Well, you saw how it's translated. Now this isn't Prabhupada. This is Prabhupada's followers. And the word loka, pala, loka means planet. So that's planet. And a planet of what? Planet of Varuna, what's that? He's in charge of the oceans. So ocean planet, I never heard that one before either. What does it mean? What does it mean? Does it mean like it's just a planet, or does it mean planet? Is it a Bhumandala planet, or does it mean, what we normally think of as a planet? That's like this spherical thing that's just made up of ocean. That's pretty weird. But that's it's in my understanding is it's the plane of Bhumandala, not the sphere. There's Bhugola, that's the sphere. And Bhumandala is the plane. And it's a little how you go toggle back and forth, or what's the connection between. I've just been hearing this several times now. Sadhuputa's explanation is, depending upon consciousness, one can go back and forth between the other. Because it depends on consciousness and sensory power. Like one of the explanations they didn't go to the moon is they don't have the sensory power. If one of the options is they actually landed on the moon, but they didn't enter the moon because they don't have the sensory power. This is one of Prabhupada's arguments. They made no report of seeing demigods, and so they couldn't have gone there. But they could have gone to the geographic place. Without the sensory power, they won't see what's there. They'll see three-dimensional space, not this higher dimension, because they don't have the consciousness and sensory power. That's what he meant. That's one of the ways they didn't go to the moon. It's something like similar to saying you can't enter Vrindavan by buying a ticket. You certainly can enter Vrindavan by buying a ticket, but you can't enter Vrindavan. You can enter the covering of Vrindavan, but you can't enter Vrindavan. You have to have another qualification besides a ticket. It's that kind of explanation. And he didn't spell it out and, expand it. He just said it in a very simple term. There's other options. The demigods have the power. They just sent the Apollo people to some other place besides the moon. That's another possibility. They don't have the credential. They don't have a passport and visa control, so they couldn't have entered. So those are other. So back to the planet of ocean. What does that mean? Depends on your sensory perception and your consciousness of what a planet is. It's a globe. Then there's a higher conscious perception that it's something else, a plane, a realm of existence that you can perceive where Varuna lives, the planet of the ocean. He can be there and in charge of something over there. Like a factory owner can be off playing golf, and over there is his factory, and it's going under his power. Prabhupada's example. Putting on the green, and his factory is running under his control. Well, he's not in the factory. Though people can do that in this world, why not? So, Lokapala. Very powerful.
I have a question. On Dwadasi day, we break our fast between a particular time, right?
Yes.
So, why is that? How it is important?
If I couldn't answer the question, how do you calculate when is the time to? Because it's embedded in this little section that I read. Like, how do you calculate? But why is it important? The merit, it's in simple terms, the merit of fasting on Ekadasi is fulfilled when you break the fast at the right time, preceding or in the beginning part of the Dwadasi day, or however the right way of saying it is. The merit from fasting is not fulfilled if you don't break the fast during that proper time. It's like Durvasa Muni, Maharaj Ambarish, and the Ekadasi fast, and he had to do it at a certain time. And so the reason is the benefit is lost if you don't break the fast at the proper time. Benefit is fulfilled if you break at the proper time. Okay.
Question from Prakash Narayan Prabhu. In this paradigm of longing and satisfaction, the discomfort of the state of longing sounds similar to the discomfort and uncertainty of the state of liminal space
Yes.
that you have explained before.
Yes.
We experience in this process of sadhana bhakti. Please,
Yes.
could you comment?
The answer is yes. Liminal, the way that I've been describing that he's familiar with my describing it, has to do with japa or any other kind of spiritual hankering. I'm here, I know the goal is there, and there's this big gap between where I am and what I know. We're all familiar with that spiritually. So that in between, that liminal space, and it's uncomfortable moving from where we are to where we want to be. But taking it further, supposing you get there, like the Brijbasis, they're still feeling they're in this liminal space. That is, they're still hankering or longing. Or the 6 Goswamis. Hey Radhe Vrajadevi Ke Chalalite. Hey, so they're there, but they're feeling longing. So get used to being uncomfortable through longing for Krishna's association. And even when you have Krishna's association, soon he's going to depart and I'll feel separation again, even during the meeting. So get used to being uncomfortable. If you want to be comfortable, go ahead. Feel comfortable. Become complacent. And try to like the place of misery.
Question from Sucharita Mataji. I am wondering why the comparison is with lotus, like lotus feet.
There's multiple explanations. One of them, a common one, is the lotus is a symbol of peace, tranquility, and the connotation of it is poetic. That's one. The peace, tranquility, serenity, symbolized by a lotus and therefore lotus feet. That's one of the explanations. Or in Queen Kunti's prayers, the Padma Ja. That's Padma Ja it means born from mud. It's a nice girl's name, but it's lotus. Lotus is grown from mud, and then but it's grown from mud, but it's above the surface of the water, and it's untouched by disturbance in the water. What to speak of the mud? So that's the lotus, which grows from mud. So one who takes shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, or the lotus eyes of Krishna, or the lotus navel. This is in Queen Kunti's prayers. It's anything to do with Krishna is lotus-like. His eyes, everything. His feet, his waist, his navel. So it can mean many things. It's multiple meanings. So a place of shelter, a place of serene shelter, lotus feet.
Question from Balram Prasad Prabhu. Where is Vyasadeva and Naranarayan Rishi situated? Is it possible to see them in upper Himalayan region, or not on planet Earth, rather they are in Bhumandala?
They're in higher dimensional space. That's the only thing I can say. It's not just like you go to Badrinath and you can see them. But you have to have consciousness suitable to see them, and then you can see them. Like Madhvacharya went to find Vyas. And he wasn't, you can look for Vyas and you're not going to find him. But he was able, his biography in his Sampradaya teachings describe there's Upper Badri, and that's where he went to find Vyas. And Naranarayan Rishi, that's where they are. They're not available to worldly people that go scrounging around with, sensory apparatus that only sees what they can see. He reserves the right to not show himself to such people, but he then can show himself to whoever he wants to show himself to.
Question from Udayananda Prabhu. Being in higher planetary system, where demigods in any way enabled with better consciousness, to love Supreme Lord than us, I mean, are they in a better Suddha Sattva Guna?
A better what?
Shuddha Sattva Guna.
Shuddha. Shuddha? Well, they're not in Shuddha Sattva, otherwise they'd be in the spiritual world. They're elevated in the mode of goodness, but they're not Shuddha Sattva. Did that answer his question?
Yeah, there is one part of it was asking, were demigods in any way enabled with better consciousness to love the Supreme Lord than us?
Well, not so that they can love, but because it's consciousness of love enables them to see, not the other way around.
Guru Maharaj, off-topic question.
Oh, sure.
This is from Gaur Sundar Prabhu. Sunita, King Anga's wife.
Who?
Sunita, King Anga's wife.
King Anga's wife.
Anga's wife. Yes,
King Anga's wife.
Srimad Bhagavad. She was daughter of Yamaraj. Her son, evil King Vena, has been described as one who got demoniac qualities because of his grandfather Yamaraj. How to understand Yamaraj had bad qualities?
I think I have to go look at the section before I can answer. Sorry. Send it, or you forward it to me and I'll look at it.
Okay, Vishalaksha Prabhu question from. Compliances while following the bhakti process will not please Guru and Lord Krishna.
What
Lord
will
Sri
not?
Krishna. Complacency, I'm thinking.
Complacency, okay.
Complacency while following the bhakti process will not please Guru and Lord Sri Krishna. How to check periodically oneself, and what are the steps should I take to overcome it?
Well, these are the steps. It's sadhana bhakti process nicely performed. And if you want to know the steps, you can read Madhurya Kandambani, and it describes the steps, moving from anishtata, anishtata to nishtha. It's right there, right in Madhurya Kandambani, the steps. But the principle is overcoming anarthas is by principle. Anartha nivritti is made possible by properly performed bhajana kriya. And the steps, that's the detail you find at Madhurya Kandambani.
Question from Rupa Vilas Prabhu. Some devotees told me that Srila Prabhupada had simple rule of breaking fasting on Dwadashi,
Yes.
just after sunrise. Is that true?
I don't know.
There is a comment. I don't think it's a question. From Bora Neelima. Thank you for explaining that it is Krishna's desire to see Varuna. Therefore, everything happened. It helps us to take strength from this thought when we are going through difficulties. That Krishna desires us to make progress. We can take strength from the positive changes happening during the difficulties and see Krishna's love for us and feel sheltered.
Very good. You got the right application. Very good.
That's it, Guru.
Okay. Anything else? Srila Prabhupada ki?